and welcome to Immortal Behaviour this week.
Down the block, Andrew John, inside for Elba. Newcastle have won the grand final.
Forgive me.
And Manu's gone through.
He's so fast, he's a great athlete, good looking rooster.
Here's Walker again, the man of the moment.
It's good to be with you.
Oh, look at Andrew John, ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest players of all time.
Yes, welcome to another episode of Immortal Behaviour. Before we do get started though, Joey, I've got to ask you, the fingernails.
Oh, yes. Melbourne Storm thing. Yeah, that's what happens when you have a daughter.
It's a nice look. I think Toby Rudolph, he has his fingernails painted as well.
Toby's Toby, which we all love. But I love the smell of it. Yeah, smells really strong.
All right, let's move on to...
Don't do it at home, kids, if you're watching.
Let's move on to the footy. The Parramatta Eels, now they've got a big game coming up this weekend against the Raiders. It's been quite an interesting season for them and a quite interesting few years for them. So if they get knocked out this weekend, how would you then describe their season? Would you say it's a success or failure or...?
Well, I'm of the belief when people say we had a successful season, there's only one team has a successful season, and that's the team that wins it. And I think if you say as an individual, as a player, or as a team or a coach, well, we had a successful season, we made the 8. Then they're your standards. You got to strive to win it every year. I think if you talk to the Melbourne Storm, they would say their season has been unsuccessful, considering they haven't got the grand final.
And that's a reflection of the
you got to win it.
They said.
Standards are, you got to win it. You want to be the best.
So then what happens, if you're looking at Parramatta's season to someone like, or Parramatta's past few years compared to a team like the Tigers who just haven't made it, compare that to the Eels who have been in and around.
Well, if you look at the teams who haven't made the semis, and you're talking Tigers, the Knights they got there last year. It's a fail. It's a dismal fail. But if they do go out straight sets, the pressure on Brad Arthur is going to be immense.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
How would he be going in this off-season if they do get knocked out this week?
Well, the question is, who would come in to replace him? Now, the argument's going to be, Brad can get us here, but who can get us to there? And to get from there to there, it might only be, 5% improvement, whether it's physical or mental. But the question's got to be, who would replace Brad? I don't know. I think Brad's doing a great job. And I think a lot of it's got to come on the players. He can give them the guidelines and he give them the coaching, but it's up to the players to take the next level.
That's it, because we always talk about the pressure on the coaches, but at the end of the day, it's the players on the field who
they're just shuffling the deck chairs.
Yeah.
Same players, same thing.
So if there was and not just necessarily on the Eels, but if there was a new coach that came in, how much could they improve a side? Is it only minimal before you can actually bring in players?
It's the great unknown. It's the great unknown. I'm trying to think which position they'd like to strengthen. Whether they have a strike centre. It's a pretty evenly balanced team, although they lose Isaiah Papali'i next year. Well,
and Reid Marnie.
Apparently. Yeah, so the dummy half, they've got to replace him and a strike back rower.
Do they have...
This is their big chance. This year. I think next year they drop a little bit.
The depth that they have, do you worry about the depth that they have at Parramatta?
Not only Parramatta, every club.
Apart from the Panthers.
Well, you look at the Panthers, they're top 30. You're probably looking at out and out, 30 of those players would be NRL players, and you go down to the lesser teams, you're only looking at 22 players out of the 30 who are NRL players. So it's up to the club to build that depth. But yeah, I think this is Eels' best chance.
Do you find that there's a fair bit of pressure on, and we saw when they were playing that game against Penrith when Mitchell Moses went off with that concussion, and then what happened to the side afterwards?
Yeah, that may have contributed. Well, they were just behind, and I thought they were coming to get Penrith. But any team loses their halfback, it makes it incredibly difficult.
Is there a lot of pressure on him, Mitchell Moses, then?
Yeah, I think so.
To lead this side and
definitely
be the person.
And that's what happens when you're the marquee player, especially when you're the marquee player and the halfback. That's where the pressure is. So I think he'll stand up. I've no doubt. I think they'll win.
Speaking of marquee players, Latrell Mitchell, you said on Friday in the 8th this week that you couldn't take your eyes off him on Sunday. How much has he impressed you?
I don't know, he's just one of those players. It's hard to put a finger on. He's just one of those personality players. He's a hero and a villain all rolled in one. Depends if you like him or.
And that's such a compliment to him, because
Yes.
if you're a hated player, it means that you're
good.
so good.
Yeah. It's just one of those players. He's just an out-and-out entertainer. I just couldn't take my eyes off him. I was watching him. Where's Latrell? What's he going to do? What's he going to do, good or bad? It's just one of those players, and it's a rare player to have where people turn up to watch him. People want to go and watch him live. I know I'd pay money to go watch him live.
Does it seem to you the bigger the stage, the bigger the performance we get from him?
Without a doubt. And I think you look at New South Wales really missed him this year. Would have been. It's just one of those players that can create something out of nothing. He's got that X factor, and he's not your traditional fullback like with Sport, Tedesco and Billy Slater and Turbo and Kalen and all these who are constantly in the game. He picks his times and he can float around for 3 or 4 minutes and not be anywhere, and then all of a sudden he smells an opportunity and whoosh, he never misses. Never misses. He's some player.
He's still quite young as well, but he's got this. I think he's early 20s, so I think he's 20.
I thought he'd be 25, maybe. What did he play 3 or 4 years at the Chooks? Let's just say I reckon he'd be 25, 26.
Oh no, I don't think he's 26. I feel like he could be 20.
25 and a half.
We'll Google it.
Yeah, we're going to 25.
There we go.
Yeah.
25.
Higher.
Warmer.
If his if his body holds out, who knows where he can
But it's also the head on his shoulders. He has got such it's a very mature head for the amount of pressure that for the week leading up to that game against the Roosters, he was in the headlines all week. There was so much discussion about him, and it did not get the better of him at all. In fact, it probably got the best out of him.
I don't think he's got no filter, which is good in the
great.
modern game.
Yeah.
It's not all manufactured or false. He just says what he thinks. And once again, people love it or people hate it. I love it. I think it's so good.
Are there any other players in the game that you can see having the pressure, the discussion point all week being about them? And
Munster,
yeah,
obviously.
Munster, yeah.
The king, going back. Wally Lewis was the king of it. Willie Mason used to be good.
He's got a very carefree.
Well, he would bring it on himself.
Yeah. I think he
mate,
thrives.
talk about no filter. That's Willie, honest Willie.
I saw Willie at the game.
Yeah.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, we saw him outside.
We saw him out the front.
How big is he?
He's a giant.
Forget how big he is.
He's a giant. You can see him just coming down the street a mile away.
I dropped him home from Origin this year. What Origin? First Origin.
Oh, was that at Accor Stadium?
Yep, and he was topped. So then on the way home, he's ordering Uber Eats. So when I dropped him, I said, what did you order, Mace? He goes, 3 Big Macs, a large milkshake, 2 large fries, 6 nuggets. I'm like, you going to eat that now? Yeah. So that's probably like an entree.
So if he has to eat that, I wonder how many standard drinks he'd have to have for it to actually impact him.
He can consume lots and quickly. Don't get in the shower. Hashtag don't get in the shower, Willie.
And you know what? Do you know, working in NRL, a lot of people actually have asked whether Willie and I are related because of the surname, Mason. We are not related.
I've never thought about that.
The amount of people not related
I got
at
some
all.
good stories about Willie.
Can you tell any here? No.
No.
Are there any PG ones you can tell?
No. No.
None.
What's that? No, I can't even say that. My oldest boy used to see him all the time and just go, can I do this? You can cut it out if you want.
We can cut it out.
Used to get up and go, Willie Mason, get it? And every time Willie used to do he does the mouth open, no noise. He's the no noise laugher. Willie Mason, get it? Get it? Yes, Samuel, I get it. Every time.
How old was he at this point when he was doing
21. No, when he was, what's his, 7, 8.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Very funny. Willie would have loved that. All right,
Willie Mason.
Speaking of that game that we saw Willie at, the Roosters, it's come out, there are some reports that Jared Rea-Hargraves and Sam Walker both played through. Now, a fractured forearm for Walker, and then Jared Waerea-Hargreaves, a wrist fracture. They both played through those, and usually they're about a 6-week injury recovery. That's pretty
Goes to show how tough the boys are and what it means, especially, well, both of them. Jared playing in the middle, but Sammy Walker, he's built like a jockey. He's a tough boy. That's just goes to show how much it meant to him.
But also too, like for Sam Walker passing with a...
Well, I'm sure he would have had a jab, had a needle in it. Actually, I saw him when he ran out for warm-up. He had the big...
Yeah, so he's got a... And Jared had a sort of black...
A black one, yeah. I saw Sam. I thought he must have had a cork in his forearm or something. It's, tough boys.
When James Tedesco went off, what did you make of the Roosters? And did you want to see some other players step up in his absence a little bit more?
Well, as soon as he went off, I thought Roosters are no chance because he does so much work and he provides the knockout punch and he's at you all the time around the ruck. I thought he was starting to carve up the Rabbitohs around the ruck with his running. Well, he went off. Victor was sin bin twice. Tupou went off.
In the many sin bins.
Angus Crichton went off.
Yeah.
So I think to get how close they did, I think it was an amazing effort. Considering that at one stage, I think Connor Watson was in the centres, Drew Hutchison was there, Momorowski was on the wing, Joseph Suaalii went to fullback. All the combinations were all over the shop. They had dramas in their forwards. Taukei'aho went off. Jared got to Jared.
And they were even because Jared came in, had that injury. Jared had the hamstring injury the week before.
I thought it was an amazing effort.
Lindsay Collins was out suspended.
An absolutely amazing effort. But as soon as Tedesco went off and didn't come back, I thought they're gone.
Did you want to see other players step up in his absence a little bit more than what we did see, or?
Well, obviously people would be questioning the halves, the stand-up. But in the end, South had so much momentum. It was such a hard game to wrestle that momentum and ascendancy in the middle of the field. But I've got to say, the Roosters were so brave. But we got a glimpse of Joseph Suaalii at fullback. And I just sat back and said to Billy off camera, I said, Billy, watch him, tell me what you see. And then after about 5 minutes, Billy went, superstar. So look out. Whether they can keep hold of him, because there's all that talk about they've got to let Tedesco go. I hope he stays there.
Would you let Tedesco go? I can't see that
no chance in the world.
Yeah, I don't see
Not for another 4 or 5 years.
So how far off do you think that Suaalii would be to being a top-grade fullback?
About 4 months.
Yeah, right. Okay, so
come around one next
good
year.
Pre-season and
it's freakish.
Yeah.
He is. It's frightening the potential he has to play any position in the fullback other than halfback. You could play him anywhere. 5'8", we know we can do it wing, centre, but fullback. That's his position, fullback.
Where if he doesn't stay, I would love to see him stay at the the club that he came through.
I hope he stays at the Chooks for the rest of his life.
If he doesn't, where would you like to see him?
Newcastle.
Yeah. Well, if they move Ponga into the halves this year, that
talk
could.
of it.
Yeah.
We'd sell the town hall. We'd even auction off my grandstand.
You could have it as the
Joseph Suaalii course.
The Joseph/John's stand. Yeah. Brandon Smith, he's now a few months away from joining the Roosters. The what do you call
Slimy
it?
little piglet.
The slippery piglet.
Piglet.
The little piglet. What do you think that he's going to bring to this side?
Oh, he'll bring so much aggression. He's a running threat at a dummy half. Defends really strong. Interesting to see how Trent Robinson uses him. The new word in dummy half play is craft. So I'd like to see what his craft is like, how his deception. I think if you watch Happy Coruscant, he's a magician at it. Whether Brendan's got the skill set to do that, but he's such a running threat. Gives him versatility. He can start at hooker and go to lock and play him anywhere. Interesting to see how he goes at hooker.
How do you think he'll go? What will he bring off the field
in the east?
Roosters?
Are you going to give him
Eastern suburbs. Brandon Smith, Victor Radley.
Andrew Johns.
If he moves to Bronte, what could possibly go wrong? Tom Walker.
Well, I reckon that he He has been under a coach, so Craig Bellamy is sort of like a Trent Robinson. They have a strong aura about them. They have quite high expectations. So I don't think that...
He'd be fine.
Look
Look at Matt Lodge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Matt
exactly.
Lodge went there, and I don't really know Matt, but there's been some baggage around Matt. But when he went there, he was another person, another player. Brandon
I love the aura of Brandon Smith. He's very carefree, he's funny, he's...
And you know what? Trent Robinson will let him express that. He won't jump all over that, but he'll keep him in check.
Yeah.
He won't keep him in check. The players will.
The players will. The senior playing group will make sure he's not going
Make sure
bonky.
he's got Navio against me. Housewarming.
Yeah, you're going to have a housewarming for it.
No. Wouldn't that be nice if he moves next door? Or moves next door to my mate Tom. Call his house the Spiderweb. Because once you're in there, you can't escape.
Tom, is he...
The white tip. Oh, we got to give him... No. We got to give him a guest appearance on Immortal Behaviour.
Oh, very funny. Val Holmes. Let's talk about Val Holmes.
Yeah.
Did you expect him? It's actually, sometimes you forget about the fact that he did go across to the NFL and he came back. And did you expect him to come full circle to where he is now?
Not as a fullback. I was watching him as a fullback. He looked a bit lost there. He's found his position, centre. Geez, that's his position. The NFL experiment, I don't know why players go over there. Unless you're a kicker, what is a punter or the goal kicker?
I think it's like...
Honestly, where are the best athletes in the world? The States.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're pushing it uphill.
I feel like, though, for them, it's something that they're fans of. They're fans of the NFL, and they think, well, why not test myself, see if I can do it? And
I'm a fan of surfing. I'm not going to go surf 20-foot pipeline against those.
You and Kelly.
Yeah, no, I don't think that'll happen. Yeah, stick to rugby league. None of yous as running backs or not quarterbacks.
Quarterbacks, yeah.
No, wide runners or something.
Wide receiver.
You're not going to make it. Yeah, you're not going to make it. Stay in rugby league.
It's a lot of studying. It's a lot of plays.
I've never. I watched it. I went and
Super Bowl.
watched Jared Hayne play.
Didn't you get spotted in the crowd?
Yeah, it was the longest. I thought it was like 40 minutes each way. It goes for like 3 hours. And those tailgate parties before I got in there, I was well hydrated. Just watching, just going. They'd do a play, they'd stop. Someone run on, someone run off. Just like, what's happening?
Who was it? An Australian fan who spotted you?
Yeah, a few.
What were they yelling out?
My name. I thought I was dreaming it.
Even at the NFL.
Levi's Stadium. Yeah. Hashtag don't go to NFL. Stay in league.
What do you think he's?
Val Holmes, I think he's the best centre in the world at the moment. He had a great Origin series. His goal kicking has really surprised me. He's kicked some great kick for goals, some clutch ones against the Tigers.
It's so. I love watching him do it. It looks so calm.
He loves
just,
a moment.
Yeah,
He's loving those big moments. He wants the ball in his hands at those. You know, those when the game's on the line.
We saw it against Cronulla.
He nailed that field goal. Absolutely nailed it. That was from 42 metres out and just went bang.
Yeah. So, do you think the Cowboys are beatable at home?
Well, I had a quick look at their record. Look, I think they'll win. So they play the winner of Parramatta and Canberra. So I'm tipping Para, so they'll play Para.
Are you tipping Para?
Yeah, I think
really?
they'll bounce back. Yep. At home this year, Roosters beat them 28-4. The Sharks beat them up there 26-12, and Penrith beat them full strength 22-0. So looking at that, their form one. Oh, did they beat Penrith? That was without all their players. I thought it was early in the year Penrith beat them. Anyway, as usual, I'm wrong again.
So
they're going to be so hard to beat up there.
So they're
firing.
Yeah, so they're Friday night, 7:50 winner of Raiders.
And I've already looked at the weather because I like to organise what I've got. We're going up actually.
We are. It's going to be the crowd there.
There's no accommodation, so I think we're going to stay in backpackers. So when you stay in backpackers, you've got to behave
like a backpacker. You've got to
backpacker.
act like a backpacker. Yeah. Did you have a backpack?
No.
Did.
No.
Did you ever stay at
played.
Backpackers? So this is the thing, when you guys travelled in your early 20s when you were playing, you guys would have just stayed at the top places.
No, I went away surfing. I never went I just go away where I could surf. Otherwise, I'd be bouncing off the walls. Cowboys up there, yeah, I think they'll win.
Yep.
But it's going to be a lot of pressure on them. It's going to be hot too. I think next Saturday they're talking about 30 degrees. So, yep. It's going to be one heck of a game. Can you imagine that stadium up there? But how do they deal with the pressure? How do they deal with the expectation? I don't think it'll affect them. They're the story of the year, really.
The amount of North Queensland people that would travel as well to that, their fans are some of the longest travelling fans.
Well, 4 hours up there is like
just
20
down
minutes
the road
for us down here.
I was speaking to some fans up there. They travel 11 hours.
What, each way?
Each way to a game.
And what's Cairns from there? Is it 4 hours? A lot of people come from up there, especially.
That's dedication.
Jeremiah Nanai, he's from there. Lukey, the young guy that's hurt his knee. Geez, they're going to be strong in years to come.
That'll be a great game.
It'll be a great game.
Let's look at this weekend's games. Eels Raiders. So you're thinking that the Eels?
Yeah, I think they'll bounce back. I think the key for Parramatta is Mitchell Moses. Hopefully he doesn't get knocked out again. And the danger is for Parramatta is when Canberra get rolling in the middle of the field and their power game on the back of Tarpany and Papali'i.
Yeah, Papali'i.
Josh Papali'i. When they power, look out. It'd be a heck of a game.
Sharks, Rabbitohs. Who do you see winning this one?
I've got the Sharks in Golden Point.
I've gone totally opposite for you.
Well, you'll be right the way I tip. Look, the key for the Sharks is they've got to keep the ball in play and not give away penalties. When the game is in the arm wrestle, back and forth, it's hard for South to get their set plays on. Whenever they get a penalty and they kick it out, and they go through their sets, and they go through their set play on play 3 or play 4 or play 5, you can't stop them. The way they play their set plays, and it goes Ilias or Cam Murray to Cody to Latrell to Alex Johnson. Everyone knows it's coming. You can't stop it.
What do you think about the fact that the Rabbitohs have played at Allianz Stadium, at the new Allianz Stadium, for the past 2 weeks? Sharks haven't played a game there yet, and I'm not sure whether they're actually going to be able to do their week before captain's run, day before captain's run. They were still working out their schedule earlier on in the week. Do you think does it matter? Even
not at all. I think it works the other way. They'd be so excited to play there. Is it a sellout? Do we know? Be close to a sellout, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, that's going to be a big day because you've got the Swans at the SCG.
And the races.
And you should do the double header.
And we've got a promo at the Chloe for my beer at 2 o'clock on Saturday.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, a few of the boys from Newcastle are coming down. I'll be down there.
Who's coming down?
A mate of mine. Kirk Gids, I think.
Yeah.
Matt Hoy, my mate the surfer.
Yeah.
So we'll have some stories to tell.
So should we go, we'll go Clavelli?
From Thursday night. Well, we've got the Paddo Colts presentation tonight, so I might just stay down there. On Friday.
If anyone wants to go see the Eighth,
Well, I've got to work that night, so I'll be behaved. But 2 o'clock Saturday at the Clovelly Hotel. If you want to have some Steel City, some free Steel City.
All right.
Only one thing better than free beer. What's the saying? Go out like free beer.
Well, there you go. What a way to finish the show.
What a way to finish. So
right. We'll see you down at the Clavelli at 2 p.m. on Saturday.
On Saturday.
For free beer. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week.